The next question is, if you're doing outreach and have several or many conversations going across email, Slack, LinkedIn, etc., how do you manage them without getting overwhelmed? Ooh, good question. So first, let's talk about outreach, because a lot of people don't do outreach. So a lot of people I talk to don't even know what it is. So let's say you're a software developer and you aren't getting that many leads. So if I said to you, how many leads did you get last week? And you laugh and say, last week, ask me about last year. A lot of people I talk to are only getting a lead or two a year, and they don't know where they came from. They are word of mouth, and or they're just a random Google search, and somehow they ended up with someone sending them an email. And when you're in a situation like that, and you get this one or two emails a year of leads, you think, oh geez, I better give them a good price, so I make sure to land this, because I'm probably not going to get another lead for 6 months. And you're always operating at this break-even point, because you're always trying to price yourself as low as you possibly can to get the gig, because you never know when that next lead's going to come. So one of the quickest ways to solve this problem of this sort of drought of leads is to do outreach, which basically means reaching out to people who are in your target market and putting yourself on their radar. Doesn't necessarily mean being all salesy and being like, hey, like one of those spam messages you get that's like, dear website owner, you could be improving your SEO. It doesn't have to be like that. You just reach out to somebody who you believe that you genuinely believe that you can help, and you say, hey, are you guys, for me, it would be like, do you guys track any mobile related KPIs at the credit union? That's a totally reasonable question. I'm just curious. No big deal if you don't. And that's outreach. I could connect with someone over LinkedIn or over email and say, hey, are you guys tracking any KPIs related to mobile? And you get people will be like, no, not really, but thanks. Or you'll get people back that say, oh yeah, I'm obsessed. I'm like constantly on my mobile analytics. Why do you ask? So it's really not that big a deal. So that's what outreach is. Basically making contacts, making friends, making colleagues, getting to know people, starting discussions and conversations with people who you don't know. So it's initiating conversations. Okay, so that's a great way to get conversations started, which all often turn into referrals or direct leads and can turn into work, which is great. So back to the question specifically, how do you keep track of all the conversations? So pretty quickly, you can get overwhelmed by the number of sort of fledgling relationships that you've started. And there are a bunch of ways to solve this, and that's what a CRM is for. So Customer Relationship Management System, that's what it stands for, right? I use one called Streak, which is sort of like a Gmail extension that allows me to connect my Gmail and sort of adds conversation tracking and lead tracking to Gmail, which is where I do most of my outreach. But I do a fair amount also on LinkedIn. So what I do on LinkedIn is I will keep track, when I send somebody a message or I initiate a conversation with someone who's connected with me, I'll copy that message and add it as a note inside of Streak. So I know that I have one place to look to see who I've contacted, so I don't say something dumb to them if I don't recognize their name the next time, I go to email them or contact them on LinkedIn. So Streak is a good one. Pipedrive is another one that's more full-featured, and people who do a lot of outreach use Pipedrive. I don't do that much. I try to just do like one per day, one per business day. Just, reach out to one new person per day who's in my target market and say, I noticed that your website is amazing on mobile. Kudos for that. A lot of credit unions don't have that kind of an experience, and I'll bet your members love it. You just give them a compliment. And, and I'm connecting, this usually I'll do this over LinkedIn or email. And in both cases, there's like, they either have my LinkedIn profile linked right there, or they'll have my email signature right there. And they can immediately go to my website or my LinkedIn profile and see that I'm focused on helping credit unions with their mobile strategy. So they're immediately going to think of me in that regard. I'll be positioned in their minds as that. So as the conversation goes on and I send them more and more valuable information over time, maybe they'll refer me to someone that they know, or maybe they will hire me directly. It's fairly successful. And I say that because a lot of people, I think, fear doing outreach and think that it would never work because spamming people is gross and shouldn't work and usually doesn't. But it's not spamming people. You're just, trying to help people, essentially. Okay, cool. Hopefully that helps. So move on to the next.